This podcast is sponsored big time by the Union Street in Berwick, Nova Scotia. Nestled in the gorgeous Annapolis Valley, the Union Street stands out as a legendary venue and restaurant to its community and travelers alike. I think it's the best live sound of any venue for your money in Nova Scotia. Incredible place to see a band or a solo artist or even stand-up comedy. What? Throw in some great food with locally sourced ingredients and a beautiful history of being family-run by lovely people. The Union Street is for everybody. Come to the Annapolis Valley, come to the Union Street. Hey, why not even come to one of our live recordings there? What the what? This place has it all. See you there. Welcome, one and all, to the first episode of the Friendly Heckler podcast. This is a live recorded podcast where I, Zakary Miller, invite my favorite living musicians to come and chat and giggle and play me their songs live on a stage. That's right, you heard that right. This being the first episode, I encourage you all to please email me with your thoughts and, of course, encouragement on how we can make this the best dang podcast on the web. Our email is thefriendlyheckler@gmail.com. That's thefriendlyheckler. Heckler is spelled Heckler @gmail.com. You can also find us on all your favorite social medias, so please drop this podcast a few likes and follows if you like what you hear. As I mentioned, I'm Zakary Miller, and since this show isn't about me, it's about the artists and their music, I won't say too much about myself because, well, I do that a lot on stage all the time anyway, as you'll hear, I'm sure. But I'm an entertainer myself, and I want this podcast to cast a light on the artists that I spend time with, like cast a light on the side of them that audiences don't get to see often in their sets. Live shows don't always afford the opportunity to just joke around and hang out with the audience, or in this case, actually, a particular audience member, me, who will request my favorite songs, which are never Freebird, and I will demand to know strange facts about these great artists that I also call my friends. I feel like that's enough about me and the podcast, so let's just jump into it. On to our very first guest, an epic one. Nonetheless, Mary Beth Carty is a pillar of maritime music in Canada. She has traveled and learned her craft. She has studied and dug through the history of her craft. She's just a total legend, returned to this planet to remind us of our history and current trajectory by combining ancient tunes with modern witticisms and lightning-fast lyrics. It's crazy how fast she can sing. I love Mary Beth's music because she rolls all those layers into these really technical, crafty tunes. So, here's our chat about everything from cats to celts and shirts woven with a distrust of capitalism. Enjoy the show. Without any further ado, I would like to bring up our guest for the evening. I don't even know much about this person, but you're going to get to know her this evening. How about a hand for Mary Beth Carty?
Hey.
Hi.
Very, very honored to be your first guest on this amazing... Oh, the Friendly Heckler is such a great name for a podcast. Am I right?
Yeah. Good. It passes the first tests of podcasts. The name is everything these days. I'm going to get Mary Beth to introduce herself with a song this evening. Instead of one of these long, drawn-out festival introductions where the person reads the bio off of their website, painfully slow, we're going to jump right into the music, and I'm going to let Mary Beth introduce herself with a song that should say enough, so it's all yours.
All right. The name of this song is Anthony. It's from my Red album, Les Bien Nommés. I'll be accompanying myself with this saltarelle accordion, and I've got this stomp box here as well, which is called a porch board. If there's any gear nerds out there.
Porch board is definitely a colloquial term. I don't know if that's... For anyone listening, feel free to Google porch board.
It is actually the brand name of this particular stomping board.
colloquial brand names is a good move.
Here we go. Anthony, you touched my hand. Anthony, you are a bassist in a band. Oh, Anthony, it's clear. Although I know you can't afford to buy another beer. Oh, Anthony, I love you just the same. But quite frankly, we're a good match. Anthony, if there was someone you could catch, please say it would be me. Jump into your net and climb out of the sea. I'll light the fire and let the signals rise. 2, 3. Here, the ice is gone, and crocuses are peeping out their student lawns. The sun beams down outside, and governments collapse while citizens abide. Oh, Anthony, our paths must soon collide. And Anthony, when meet they do, I'm not sure exactly how to speak to you. What language or what truth? Remain distant or invite you to come to my kissing booth. No, I don't want to be around the bush. No. That fateful hour when branches break and laurels tumble from the bough, you cannot pick them up. At least that's what they told you when you tried to run amok. Oh, Anthony, don't listen to the liars. And Anthony, what would they say if paint were spilled and my heart turned from red to gray? Our color's absolute, as much as any feeling that the judges would reveal. No, Anthony, our trial would be rude. 2, 3. The tides have turned, and I'm afraid the man you saw me with has burned. Aim up unto my mind of places he and I would go if I left you behind. Oh, Anthony, how fast the seasons change. And Anthony, if we could dance, well, Anthony, that might be our only chance to hold each other close. We're born upon a bed, but we live upon the coast. Anthony, I raise to you this toast. There's a sing-along part here. No words, just a die, die, die. Die, 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 die. Yeah! Die, 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 die. You got it. Die, 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 die. Yeah! Sing! Die, 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 die. Die, die, die.
Okay, I want to ask who Anthony is, but I'm going to start by saying, who is Mary Beth Carty? Where are you from?
I grew up in part of Antigonish County known as Lanark.
Lanark.
It's out past the hospital. If you drive down Main Street and keep going towards Cape George,
Okay.
You'll find Lanark
so
on the way.
For the listeners who aren't in this room tonight, because this room is very provincial, for the listeners, Antigonish County is on the northeastern shore of Nova Scotia, right?
This is right.
And now, what sets Lanark County apart from Antigonish?
So, Antigonish County, we're about a population of about 20,000. We're not too far, if you know where Cape Breton Island is, we're not too far from there, maybe a half-hour drive to the causeway. It's a kind of a farming area. I grew up next to a dairy farm, and there were lots of cats in the barn. And Zakary, like before, he was asking me, are there any topics that are off limits, out of bounds? And I like to put it in a more positive way and say that I just like talking about cats.
Which I took as I only want to talk about cats tonight.
Yeah.
Which is okay. Barn cats are innumerable. I mean, barn cats are there's probably more barn cats in the world than there are humans.
So I spent my childhood turning barn cats into pets, and it's something that's continued on into adulthood.
Did you talk to the barn cats as if they were your only friends?
Well, my roommates are two barn cats that I got about a year ago, Rita and Rory. They're brother and sister.
Barn cats?
I found them in the barn,
Everyone needs to go on Mary Beth's Instagram and look at these beautiful cats. They're not your average barn cat. Those are cute cats.
They're highly intelligent.
What are their names?
Rita and Rory.
Rita and Rory. Yeah. Oh, you went with alliteration.
Yeah, well, the cats I left behind at my parents' house when I lived next door to them, they just stayed in Lanark. They're Rocky and Rolly.
Oh.
And they got another little cat, and his name is Rudy. So.
Is your whole family obsessed with the letter R? Why
no,
R?
Just me.
Oh, you named your childhood cats as well. Rocky, Rory.
Those names, you don't even want to know the names of the childhood cats because they're my bank passwords, and we.
Right. Okay. So key one was you don't want to talk about the cats that are your bank passwords. I see. That's something I need to know as a host. Okay. So Antigonish, you grew up near a dairy farm, but you're not a dairy farmer. You have an appreciation for the rural life.
Oh yeah, where I grew up, we always had gardens, and my grandfather had an orchard. I grew up in the house my mother grew up in, and my grandfather grew up in. We're the McDonald clan. My mother's a McDonald, so we're known in Antigonish County as the number 11 McDonald's.
Number 11.
Because it's the number 11 plot of land when they cut it up for the loyalists. We're number 11 from town, and it's funny, but because a lot of my distant cousins are professional musicians, and they tour the world playing Scottish fiddle music. Cassie and Maggie, Troy, Kendra, Sabre, McGilvery.
Okay. Oh, I didn't realize you were related. Because as somebody from away, it's starting to seem like the entire East Coast music scene is related.
It could seem that way. My other cousin was a roadie for the Trews, and I have another cousin who is a master bagpiper. And
okay. Tight crew.
It's genetic.
McDonald, that's MAC.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, so Highland Scots.
The thing about the MAC or MC, it's all translated to English from the Gaelic. So the Gaelic would be, if you were a boy, Mac, son of, or if you were a girl, Nich, daughter of. So it's just the Mac is just an anglicized way. So
the Gaelic is something I actually wanted to speak to you about, because if you haven't heard Mary Beth's music before, seen a show, A, go out and see all of her shows, because everyone is amazing and different. And B, you sing in at least 3 different languages.
Yeah.
4, including some Mi'kmaq.
Yeah, and I used to play accordion in a Brazilian band, so I learned some Portuguese songs.
Oh my God, that's 5 languages.
I love languages. Do you guys love learning languages? I'm into it.
I think a lot of people find it really difficult, but especially to sing in other languages. Do you find it easier to learn other languages through song, or?
Oh yeah, song is a big help. I'm learning Spanish on Duolingo right now.
Conversational or formal?
Mexican Spanish.
Okay, yeah. So the two form.
No
Okay.
mamas way.
With Gaelic though, there's like a couple versions of Gaelic, right? There's like a common Gaelic and then a Highland Gaelic. Is that true, or is it?
There's Irish Gaelic and Scottish Gaelic.
Okay.
So
They've been reduced.
But there's accent. Like everywhere would have their regional accent, and yeah.
So what accent are you singing Gaelic with?
I don't even know.
Now, this is one thing. When I was trying to do research on Mary Beth Carty, I found kind of a dead end on the internet, which is very frustrating. Yeah. But then I thought, okay, well, I'm going to just talk to you. So now I get to learn a bit more about your background, which is Scottish, right?
Yeah, my father was born in Glasgow, Scotland, and my mother, like I said, is a McDonald's, and of her 4 grandparents, 3 of them were McDonald's. So.
And you said that we were talking at the bar, and I had to stop Mary Beth from speaking anymore because we were giving away the whole podcast at the bar. But you said that your father's actually from Lanark County in Scotland?
He's from a place called Lanark in Scotland, which is crazy. And I don't know, there's a Lanark, Ontario, too, but there's a lot of I have friends from Lanark, Ontario, as well. You guys ever been there? It's a nice spot,
How did he manage to settle in a place with the exact same name?
It's really wild. Yeah.
History means a lot to you in general, eh?
Yeah. I don't know if you have ever seen a psychic or medium to look into your past lives, but I enjoy that too.
You've seen a medium to talk about your past lives?
This girl down the road, she's great.
That's amazing.
She was reading my tarot cards the other day, and she told me all this stuff.
Was she like naming Lanark County and being like, oh, you have some angry relatives, they want you back?
She did not say that.
Okay.
I think you have a gift, though, Zakary.
I do, too. I've always said that, but nobody seems to believe me when I say it. I'm going to do my first ever friendly heckle and force you to play a song.
All right.
This is a first. So given that this is the first episode of the podcast, if you're listening, please suggest ways to improve the podcast, even though we're 3 minutes in. And if you're here, please come up afterwards and give us some tips on what you'd like to hear on the podcast or what you'd like to see. But my whole ethos was that I'm going to heckle my friends into playing my favorite songs of theirs, because sometimes it's hard to yell that out at shows, and nobody else at your table seems to like it. So I'm at a table with you, one-on-one right now, and I'm going to heckle you and say, Yvonne, play Yvonne! Okay. This is a song off of Les Bien Nommé.
Yeah. Les Bien Nommé. Yeah, it means the well-named, and it's a play on words with Les Bien Aimés, the loved ones.
Beautiful. Are all the names people that you knew? Are these all actual people, or are they just beautiful names?
They are code names for composite characters.
Oh my goodness.
And the album came out on Valentine's Day. So make of that what you will.
Please share the love of Yvonne with us.
Tu voyais par la fenêtre. Est-ce qu'il y avait des piliers de fumée qui tournaient tout autour de la périmètre? Ouais, j'ai connu notre espoir pendant la belle époque de notre gloire. crépuscule. Je meurs de la peste, car la vie sans amour est complètement nulle. Les fantômes m'agacent et me guettent. Le vent sur le dos des pirouettes. Tu fais peur avec tes yeux de perle, blanc comme la neige qui nous entoure. J'ai trop parlé de ce que je vivais. Maintenant, t'en sais trop, mon amour. Et là, si je t'appelle au téléphone, tu ne répondrais plus. Être grégaire, c'est ça qui tue. J'apprendrai à mentir quand il s'agit de mes délires, car c'est toi qui m'inspire. Bon.
Amazing.
Thank you.
I picked the hardest song I could for you. I picked the most technical song. There's so much going on in that. If you haven't listened to this album, it's so beautiful. I went through this album and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna pick a name that stands out to me. But no, I went through this whole album and I ended up back at the first track because that song just spoke to me. The time changes are intense. The lyrics are the melody bounces so wildly. It's pretty technical for you.
It's the first song on that album, but it was the last one I wrote for it. It just, the album needed another song, and I was inspired, and it just came out. And yeah, I enjoyed writing that song. I enjoy playing that song, and I'm really happy you asked me to play it, because I don't play it a lot, and I love that song, so thank you.
No, thank you. I thought it was interesting that you started the record with it then. Given that's the last thing you recorded, but you were like, nope, top. This is the first thing people are going to hear when they hear this record.
And we recorded that song in my living room in Lanark. I was living in my aunt's flat up on a hill, and we set up the recording gear ourselves. The sole musicians on the album are myself, Greg and Brendan Melchin, a brother duo, and Donald McLennan on fiddle. So I think the night we recorded it, I think the first time we tried, we were having too much fun, and it was we were by the time we sat down to record it, we were no longer able to play music at all. So the following day, we were like, hey, we're going to be a little wiser today, and we sat down, and Donald. He not only did he play the fiddle on that track, but he put some gypsy jazz guitar, and it was all done in the living room. And also, I just had my live mic, and the accordion is loud enough that it just my vocal mic picked up the accordion. So, and that was done in a live take of vocals and accordion and the band live off the floor. So yeah,
wow.
I love talking about music production. So
absolutely,
cats and music production.
Weird scene, man. Except we don't talk about the production of Cats. That's off limits tonight. Especially the film production. Nobody is allowed to ever talk about that again. That one's for me. But that song sticks out, and the whole recording session wasn't live off the floor then? That song was?
A lot of the takes were, but then I would overdub the vocals. But by the time we got to the end of it, I was like, you know what? I really like recording the vocals live too, because I would be laboring over, with the song Anthony, I did a lot. I sat in my living room singing Anthony for weeks upon end and one of the songs on that album, Claire, I was like, I made the scratch track. I'm not trying on this. I'm just getting through the words. And it turned out that vocal take was the best.
Always.
My motto is don't try. It's my 2022 motto, don't try.
Take it from Mary Beth Carty, kids. Just stop trying now. A word of advice to the youngins in the world. Stop trying so hard. I think that is important, though, especially with live off the floor recordings. It forces you to just not compromise, but just find a happy medium where that's what happened. That is what you're putting out into the universe, so the universe should appreciate that moment. I think that's really important in recording, personally, and I don't want to put too much of my own belief system into this podcast. I promised a couple of people that I wouldn't, but live off the floor recordings is the way to go. And Donald is a beast.
Donald's amazing. Yeah.
So he recorded his parts live off the floor with you? There was no overdubbing?
That's a good question. I'd have to think back now. But yeah, no, the thing was we were all living in Antigonish at that time, so it was easy to organize our recording sessions because we were all in the same geographic location. So.
Wow, I can see you now. I'm picturing you singing Anthony alone in like a bedroom over and over again, and that's a quick song.
Oh, it was the living room, and I had a roommate, and if you listen closely, you can hear he was like making something in the kitchen. At the end, there's a spoon that drops in the counter, and I was like, that's a really actually great ending to a song, like a spoon dropping on the counter. So I left it in.
Was Anthony a messy roommate?
I don't think he was. No.
Okay,
no.
good.
And the roommate was a different roommate. Yeah.
So who is Anthony?
Who is Anthony? Like I say, a composite character.
Okay.
So in the lyrics of that song, like it's someone.
Forgive my ignorance. I don't speak French, so you'll have to.
Oh, Yvonne. Who is Yvonne?
Well, Yvonne, yes.
Well, like I say, it's also their code names. So it was probably someone named Ivan, actually. And Anthony was probably, I don't know, like.
Well, you
yeah,
just
could have been
destroyed
Tony.
my
Could have
entire
been.
line of questioning here.
Yeah.
I guess Ivan. I don't have any questions written for Ivan, so I don't have any questions written in general. I think that's why Mary Beth is laughing so hard if you're listening. Yvonne is a composite character, but what are you saying in that song for
Oh yeah.
the
I'll
ignorance?
tell you. Yeah, I'll tell you. It's you know, I don't often on stage, like you say, in between my songs, or even in any way open up about my personal life, and that's part of the reason I write in French, is so that maybe, like, living in Nova Scotia, it's a minority language, and the listeners are going to understand less of the song, so I can be a little more open in what I'm saying. So Yvonne, okay, I'll be honest with you guys, and I will, because as a fan of music and musicians, I always want to know about the personal lives of musicians. Like I always do. So I may as well, give.
That's why you come to these events, folks.
So I think when I wrote this song, it was like I was seeing somebody who, and I'm embarrassed of this too, because it's something that I'm really morally opposed to. The Alberta tar sands. I was dating someone, and he had just gotten a job out in Alberta, like going to work in some camp up God knows where, like north of Fort McMurray, east, west. Yeah. We don't know. So sort of in that song, there's like, I'm imagining this person driving on a bus like hours, and just like, what are they seeing out the window? Like, what does it look like? What are the smokestacks and the holes in the ground, and like the waiting lines, and what are these camps like? And that's sort of what's happening in that song. And I've really never told anyone that before. So.
Wow, thank you.
There you go.
I mean, I feel yeah, it is personal, and it is one of those things like you want to pull the curtain back just enough that people get inside the song and understand your feeling, but at the same time, that song is like fairly political in a way. Well, not political, but it is environmental. There's a thought process behind the hidden message in a way, eh?
Yeah, it's very emotional. Yeah, it's also about someone like not talking to you and not answering your calls. Yeah.
Then with someone like Anthony, what are the lies that people were telling about this Anthony? Why shouldn't you listen to the lies?
Oh, God, I got to think back because
Okay,
that
yeah.
song, actually wrote that song 10 years ago, which is also kind of embarrassing that I'm still, like, it's still my favorite song to sing.
No
You'd think that I
way.
would have, between the 10 years, I would have written something a little more, current. But I don't know. There's something that I really like about that song.
It's not Eric Clapton playing cocaine at 50 years later. It's okay. You can play it 10 years down the road.
Greatest hits, you got to keep playing them.
I just shat all over his greatest hit.
Just got to think about that. That part is sort of, I don't know. Maybe if you were going it with someone a lot younger than you, or maybe someone who of different convictions of yourself, maybe someone very religious from a very religious family, for example,
Right.
then you'd be just trying to convince them to I don't know. Yeah, just not listen to other people and. I don't know where
You're
I'm
just
going
telling the
with this. It's,
Anthonys
like,
of the
really
world to be
getting-
themselves.
Yeah, be yourselves, Anthonys of the world.
Yeah, hey, everyone, be an Anthony and go out and be yourself a little bit more, okay? Just be your best Anthony, friends.
Or be someone else. Don't try. Be someone you're not. It's change who you are just a little bit. I think that's okay too. You create who you are. So that be yourself thing, sometimes, you don't really know who yourself is. So you're trying to figure it out, and in the process, maybe try being someone else. Yeah.
It's actually not. You can clap for it, go for it.
Yeah, and musically too, I think that the influence of that song is very much from klezmer and Jewish music. Now, this is something that my roots are Scottish. My father's, you heard it. But as far as influences go, and musical influences, and us as human beings, all of us as we travel through the world, we pick up different pieces of things as we go along, and we're, no matter what our genetic or geographic background is, we all meet different people from all over the place, and we have all these experiences that make up who we are as unique people. So. As artists, I try to just let those influences in, and I think we all should.
That's why I was flabbergasted by your music, because it does draw on every influence that I've ever been tickled by. The klezmer stuff, even the French influence. Again, I'm ignorant, so I don't speak French, but it's okay to laugh
Well,
at that.
I was only in
None of
core
this happened.
French growing up,
Really?
twice a week, the teacher comes to your class. But so it can come from a book, even with the Jewish and klezmer influences, because my second accordion that I got came with a book. We can be influenced by books, not only,
What was that book?
It was called you photocopied it the other day, my friend Ingrid here. What's it called? Cam and Dance Folio #9. It's a very rare book that was published in New York.
Can
You
and
can't get
Dance
it on the
Folio?
internet. Cam and Dance Folio #9.
And it's klezmer tunes.
It's a lot of European tunes from Poland, Russia,
Can you play
Romania.
Have a Nagila? Is Have a Nagila in there?
Oh yeah, it's way too well known for that. That book has rare tunes.
Oh, wow, very cool.
Nagila is not in that book, but
So have you gone through your klezmer phase of just digging through klezmer artists?
I went and studied klezmer music at this summer camp up north of Montreal called Klez Canada, which I highly
Klez Canada?
Klez
That's an
Canada, I highly
amazing name.
recommend. It's a week-long culture camp, music and culture. There's dancing, there's theater, there's bands from all over the world. The best instructors for one year they had a band from the Ukraine. There's brass. There's everything. There's singing. There's choirs. It's world class, and this happens every August right here in Canada, north of Montreal at Camp Benai Brith. It's wicked, and I went there 2 summers and.
How old were you when you went to Klez Canada?
Oh, I was in my 30s. Yeah.
Okay. Well, all the other kids 14 and sailing and stuff, and they're like,
No, it's all ages. No, that was really more of an adult
okay, cool.
event. Yeah.
I'm not judging. I'd be all over that, because I definitely went through a klezmer phase, but my klezmer phase was also mixed up in the noise rock scene, and I got really into John Zorn for years, and it's klezmer on cocaine.
I love John Zorn.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. See, this is something we didn't know about each other, but I can feel it in your music. There's a bit of a healthy chaos that you invite into your circle.
Healthy chaos that I invite into my circle. I'm going to quote that. And
That's the name of the
print it
episode.
on my T-shirts, okay?
Okay.
Is that okay?
But I
I'm
get
gonna quote you.
10%.
Yeah, I'll give you 10%. You get a free T-shirt too.
Is that the only music camp? Oh, jeez. Is that the only music camp you've ever done?
No, when I was young, there would be Gaelic music summer camps.
Okay.
So actually, I'm working on a new album, and one of the songs I learned when I was 11, which is a song about partying and drinking in Gaelic, that's going to be part of a medley on my album. 11
you learned that at?
Yeah.
And you're not like a wild party animal. I mean, I've seen you out late, but I
Not
don't
a
think
wild
you're a
party animal. My last name does rhyme with party, but.
Mary Beth McParty? Sweet album for your dance titles.
Mary Beth Carty, love life of the party, or loves to party, or like, what do you think? What do you think, guys? We can have a vote here.
Yeah, we'll have an online vote.
A Google.
Mary Beth McLife of the Party is what I think it should be, but.
Mac life of the party.
Mick-life. It has to be. Oh, Mac-life. Sorry, I want to get it right. Highland Scots. Okay, so you've been to music camps. Are you classically trained?
I'm classically trained on piano.
On piano, okay.
Yeah.
So you picked up guitar later in life then?
Yeah, I picked up the guitar at age 15. Yeah.
If you haven't seen Mary Beth play guitar, she's like a monstrous guitar player. She strums faster than anyone I've ever seen. And I'm in a band called the Coconut Kings where I have to play really fast, but I was like, Mary Beth should join that band. She can strum way stronger than I ever will be able to. And you play in dadgad tuning?
I do, yeah.
Dad, not
Dad, yeah, D-A-D-G-A-D, yeah.
Dadgad.
Dadgad.
Okay. And that's pretty standard tuning for a lot of the Gaelic Celtic stuff, right?
It's common in Ireland
Okay.
and Brittany. It's less common in Nova Scotia and Cape Breton.
Oh, is that why you're such a sought-after side man?
See these hands?
Side person?
To the listeners, just to describe, like, my hands are very small, and
they're about the size
of a 12-year-old's hands.
Well, I wouldn't say a 12-year-old's hands. I was going to compare them to like a nice-sized potato.
Yeah. Really decent sized potatoes.
Yes, yeah, like a PEI potato.
Well, I find it a lot easier on my muscles to play in that tuning. So yeah.
And for those of you who didn't see, and for those of you listening, you just played with Ashley McIsaac.
I did, yes, at the Lunenburg Folk Festival and at the Stan Rogers Folk Festival. I love folk festivals.
So you played dadgad tuning while he fiddled his brains out. That could sound dirty, but it's not. It's just a turn of phrase that I invented for fiddling. And if anyone's going to fiddle their brains out, it's Ashley McIsaac. He's a beast. And how in the world does it come that you... Not that I don't think you deserve it. I do think you deserve it. But how did that happen?
Oh, I'm not at the top of his list. Don't worry. I'm like when he calls.
You're on the list though. That's huge, dude.
I played with him at the Lunenburg Folk Festival another year. I think it might have been 2017 or 2018. But
side by side, you were backing him up.
I think the first time I played with him was in Antigonish at Piper's Pub. It wasn't too many years ago, and that was a 3-hour gig. And I think by the end of hour 2, my fingers were bleeding. Like there was blood running down my guitar. There was blood on the stage. Yeah, no joke.
Did he even have any strings left in his bow, though, at that point? Or were the two of you just sort of like blowing the crowd's minds?
Oh, he'll just give... Yeah, there was a square dance as well, because, Piper's Pub before the pandemic, it's square dance. But yeah...
For those listening, could you please describe Piper's Pub? I've never been inside. I've only seen it from the outside, so I have this totally imaginary scene. But please describe what it looks like.
It's different depending on when you go there. Okay, and there's a reference to it in the song Anthony. I think that was a moment. Like it was a moment in Piper's Pub that inspired the first verse of that song. But yeah, what does it? I mean, Piper's Pub. How can I describe it?
Is it like an 1800s pub?
It's rectangular. It's
it's like every building.
It used to be a tavern where there would be big wooden tables all down the middle. Now it's more of like a St. of X student liquor dome kind of a
Liquor dome.
Like I say, depending what time you go there. My friend Betsy plays there on Friday nights.
Betsy
Boots.
McDonald? Oh.
Yeah, Betsy McDonald. Yeah.
Probably Betsy Boots?
Her band is called Betsy's Boots.
Oh,
she
that's a
plays
good
there every
band name.
second Friday. Yeah, really good.
Shout out Betsy. I know Betsy, and that's a great band name, but I did not know that was a band. She plays there every Friday. So you just kind of...
Every second Friday.
Every second Friday.
With a flugelhorn player and a mandolin player.
Very traditional Celtic lineup, that's for sure. Flugelhorn, I know that's how they did the war calls in the War of the Celts. It was all flugelhorn, right? No, it wasn't. This is the portion of the show where I bullshit and you all go, that's a good bullshit. I want to venture into some uncharted territory because I'm actually born and raised in a city. And again, this podcast isn't about me, so I got to stop saying I. But I was born in a city and you were born rurally, but we both have an appreciation for people who worked in the streets and stuff like that. And there was a song that I was going to bother you to play tonight called The Squeegee Song off of an album by Bet and Willette, which was the name of your duo at the time?
Yeah. So I had this... Yeah, so when I was 18, I left Antigonish, moved to Halifax, and went to university. And then when I finished there, I moved to Quebec City. And that's when I met this friend, Gabrielle Ouellette, and we started this duo, Bet and Ouellette. And we recorded an album in our... like, a lot of it was recorded in a laundry room, actually. And but it sounds really good. Like, you'd never think. Like, we would definitely not do laundry while we were recording. But that album was sort of like a cult classic. We toured a lot with it. We went to France. We went all over Canada. We ended up printing 5,000 copies of it. People really liked it. And the breakout song, like the first song on the album, and the kind of the song that brought us together was this song that I wrote, which was like I recycled an old traditional song about what the lumber camp workers do in the winter, and I made it about a scene you would see in many Canadian cities. Would be like squeegee kids. They would be
I think that's the acceptable
kids.
term. Is everyone okay with that? Squeegee kids?
Yep,
there's one emphatic fan of squeegee.
Even in the winter, like working really hard out there at the intersections, like willing to clean your car windshields.
Front and back. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that was like that blew my mind. It was so cold in Quebec too. Like I found it was a lot colder there than Nova Scotia. So
as a kid growing up, that was like they deserved danger pay. I thought that was one of the hardest working jobs in the world. Yeah.
Right. So that inspired me, and I wrote a song called "Le Squeegee," and it's played every December 31st on Radio Canada. They play
really?
But the thing was, then the reason I'm not going to play it tonight is because there would be I had a chorus of men, but it was like a bilingual sing-along part, and so on the album there's like a choir that we did record in the laundry room, but live, Gabrielle Ouellette, he would do all the choir part, the male choir part, and I never was able to remember the lyrics to that song. And I can recite them, but I had to have a little piece of paper because the song would go so fast and the lyrics were so similar to one another. I had a little piece of paper glued to my accordion for years just so I could get through the song.
It's a lot of words, but it's an incredible message. And in general, that album, I mention it because I think you should all go check it out. And we do actually have a door prize. That's the perks of showing up to these events for the friendly Heckler. You do. There is a door prize, so somebody is going to take home a copy of that incredible record. There it is.
And I will sing another song off that record, which is also kind of like seeing the city through the eyes of a rural person.
So what song do you want to play right now? Because I want you to play another
and this
song.
is a sing-along, and I'm expecting you, Zakary, and everyone else to join in. Not too difficult. It's After He Leaves the Office, the good times roll on. So, after he leaves the office, the good times roll on.
Everyone got that?
Yep. And with the after he leaves the office, the good times roll on. With the melody, after he leaves the office, the good times roll on. After he leaves the office, the good times roll on. That is really good. And the thing is, I'm going to sing the whole thing once, and then I'm going to point to you guys, and you're going to repeat it after me. So that's what you call a call and response song, chanson répondre. So you don't have to remember it. You just have to repeat after me. So it's all good. A fonctionnaire does more than governmental deeds. On Monday, for his secretary's love he pleads. And tip and type, computers down, computers up, early to work, come home to sup, coffee cup, cup, cup. After he leaves the office, the good times roll on. On Monday, for his secretary's love he pleads. On Tuesday, he eats salad to stop heart disease. And tip and type, computers down, computers up, early to work, come home to sup, coffee cup, cup, cup. After he leaves the office, the good times roll on. On Tuesday, he eats salad to stop heart disease. And on Wednesday, his car dealer's advice he heeds. And tip and type, computers down, computers up, early to work, come home to sup, coffee cup, cup, cup. After he leaves the office, the good times roll on. On Wednesday, his car dealer's advice he heeds. And on Thursday, his fancy magazines he reads. And tip and type, computers down, computers up, early to work, come home to sup, coffee cup, cup, cup. After he leaves the office, the good times roll on. On Thursday, his fancy magazines he reads. And on Friday, a poker and scotch night he leads. And tip and type, computers down, computers up, early to work, come home to sup, coffee cup, cup, cup. After he leaves the office, the good times roll on. On Friday, a poker and scotch night he leads. And on Saturday, he scorns the hippies hugging trees. And tip and type, computers down, computers up, early to work, come home to sup, coffee cup, cup, cup. After he leaves the office, the good times roll on. On Saturday, he scorns the hippies hugging trees. And on Sunday, at church he chants apostles' creeds. And tip and type, computers down, computers up, early to work, come home to sup, coffee cup, cup, cup. After he leaves the office, the good times roll on. After he leaves the office, the good times roll on. After he leaves the office, the good times roll on. Yay! Good singing, good singing. Really good singing.
They did a really good job with that. Considering how tricky the timing is on that, I was asking Mary Beth before that even started tonight. I was like, please remind me of the timing of that because I have no sense of rhythm, and that's a tricky one.
You did great.
Please introduce what that instrument was for people listening at home.
So you may, this is the thing. These are called the bones. These are called the bones. I have 4 sticks. They're not attached to one another. They're just 4 slightly curved sticks. But you know what? These are models of rib bones. So a lot of bones players will actually play ribs from a calf or another bovine creature.
That's disgusting.
I've heard of people playing caribou ribs. But yeah, it's an ancient instrument that is played in many countries all over the world. I learned on paint sticks cut in half. Yeah, my friend was working at a hardware store and figured you could learn. They're good learner sticks because they're not too loud and not too heavy. And if they fly out of your hand, the other person might not lose an eye. So. And
they're free with every can of paint you buy. So as someone at home has dozens of these sticks ready to bone. Sorry, that sounded really bad. To create bones from. If you're listening at home, I apologize.
I have dozens of sticks.
Not to bone, to make bones out of, yeah.
I meant to bring some to distribute to you guys, so you could.
They're
take them
getting
home
enough prizes.
Yeah, there's a lot of prizes.
They're
it's
getting enough
true.
prizes
Yeah.
for showing up. This is a great experience. So those are wonderfully sanded and stained, and they look beautiful. But where do you have to buy bones? Long McQuaid does not sell those.
There's a lot of options. You can go to the butcher. You can ask them, have you butchered a calf of a certain stature recently, and if so, can I have the ribs? And then you go home and there's a curing process.
Like a calf of a certain stature, like their class.
Just
or
whatever.
How much they make in a
There's
month.
a specific size, the numbers I don't have in mind right now. But yeah, so there's you can cure them. Or I wasn't willing to cure the ribs that I got at Vasharash's butcher shop in Antigonish. I thought I'm gonna put these out on a stone, and maybe a coyote is gonna come along and chew the meat off of them, and maybe 3 years later I'm gonna find them nice and dried out somewhere in the woods. So I'm still waiting for that day.
Right, you're waiting for the universe to deliver your bones like golden plates that are buried underground, kind of thing, right? Not to make a Mormon reference, but yes, yeah, you're waiting for your bones to arrive.
And in the meantime, you can order wooden ones on the internet. There's many companies that, in Newfoundland, there's a few companies, because this is a popular instrument in Newfoundland and Ireland as well, and southern states.
Southern Appalachian music, right?
Also,
yeah. Music, yeah.
And in India, they have an instrument too that's flatter, and they play more like this in this manner.
Similar to spoons.
Yeah, you could say, but that's one thing. If you want to make a bones player irate, compare them to a spoons player.
Nice.
Yeah. No offense to any spoons players. I personally
no
respect.
offense to any spoons player, but you'll never be a bones player, is what you're saying. No, now I realize that Mary Beth doesn't want to say anything because she's like, listen, I know a lot of spoons players, and I am not offending them, man. You go ahead, but I'm not offending them.
The controversy.
I'm a big fan of spoons. Again, I have no rhythm, and it's one of those gifts that my mom gave me when I was young, and I just thought I could play this. No, I couldn't. I don't have rhythm. I don't have the technical ability to do that, let alone while singing and having a good time.
Well, it's not everyone. You got a great hat, for example, and you're a good interviewer.
Yes,
so.
My skills lie in
It's
my
okay.
hat.
You can learn the bones though, and the triangle is one of those instruments too that I would never knock. I love the triangle. It's on a bunch of songs. I put it on every song. Tambourine, love. Shaker, love. Look, do you see this instrument I have here, folks? I'm holding a tiny piece of metal with a. Let me just play this.
A little band of metal in between. The jaw harp.
Thank you. No, this is another really ancient instrument that you find in so many cultures over the world, and I don't even know how to call it anymore. But in French, bombard, gambard. In India, morsing. What do you guys call this instrument?
Anybody?
Juice harp.
Yeah. Which I've seen as Jew's harp and juice harp.
It's up for debate.
Jaw harp, I guess, has become the accepted colloquial term.
A little girl, I was on a library tour of this coast, and I know what that's called. It's a jawbreaker.
That's a good, I'm glad that she thinks that is.
Toothbreaker. And in French, ruin babin, like a lip breaker.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a good name, actually, because I did hear it kind of clip your tooth a little bit there. Or I guess it hits itself, and it has a rattle to it.
Let's see now. Yeah, you have to hold it against your teeth. That's one of the...
Now, most people listening couldn't help but hear that and just think Looney Tunes.
Oh, yeah.
That is the
harken.
go-to Looney Tunes. But I do see its cultural significance. And you play a little bit in your set, but not...
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's such a... And I ordered some special from these ones that I have here. This one here was made in Slovakia. And it's pitched, so if you want to put it in a song, like it's in the key of A. So if everyone else is playing in A, it does add a lot. I really do find it
Has
adds a
anyone
lot.
brought you into the studio to play on the record on either Bones or Jaw Harp?
Yeah, I'm playing Bones on Mike Bravener. Mike Bravener's album. He's a folk singer from New Brunswick who sings the old songs of New Brunswick. For example,
The old songs of New Brunswick?
the old ones, you know.
Wow.
You should get him on your podcast.
Well, now I have to. Now the pressure's on. Now that I know what the record sounds like, too. I mean, so you're doing Bones on that, but nobody's got you to play Jaw Harp?
I'm trying to think now. I played it on I have a record that's coming out soon, and I did put a few touches of Jaw Harp here and there.
Do you know when the record's going to be released yet, by the way?
Well, by the time this podcast goes to air,
That
I'm
could be
sure I'll
2
have some
weeks.
copies in my hand because I ordered them today.
Oh, that's right. You can clap for that. Very exciting. Progress in a musician's life is worth clapping about. Please encourage musicians to make copies of their records and actually get out there and sell them, because that's a very difficult moment. Were you worried when you ordered the copies?
I already ordered them and then said, "Whoa, hold! I want to change this one thing," which has been like the story of the past many months.
Yeah, I hear
and
you.
years.
Yeah, I released a record on April 1st, 2020, and I didn't order a single copy of it.
But wait, is that the one with the black and white cover that you can color in?
Yeah, I
love
actually had
that
to make them
record.
myself at a certain point.
It's a really good album, man. It's so
Thank
good.
you.
I love
Thank
that.
you. Well, this podcast is partially about me.
Really good.
Thank you. I know it's a pretty good record, so everyone should buy that record too. But while we're at it, I do want you to play another song. What album is this one going to be off of?
Yeah, this one I released this as a single in May of 2021. It's something, again, it was like that some sort of hand was moving me around and making me finish it and making me put it out in the world. It's called Mo Vahed, which is Gaelic for my mother, and it was written 100 years ago, so during another pandemic, like the Spanish flu. And it just came together. It was really a miracle how it came together. I layered some fiddle players. I got 2 of my friends it was in my parents' living room and recorded them. And then the next day, it was like a lockdown where you couldn't visit people. And I got it out just before Mother's Day. And yeah, it's called Mo Vaher. It's Gaelic for my mother.
Please.
She ein meldrums mínum fastjum sauna graga húd mi madoch och hanai nich gebrach mo speshi Geta hami sho vinbrag Aunen cheer the hound Sketa huintins sketa mishasi She moroch yachi Kumo vahe hounds a chlachin Savi galish Vinam chalek bekachisht Amos moichin oranam gushka Namo chatal haid laga Haidem ninin mochuram mounds gachnin Sae piersa Ayal hundon Namo ilin fad nahinya She vi fainya Nyoldo yusi Muhi Amos moichin anam guzgan Namo hata ilagam Aetan inni no hurum zgarni Sahe persa ayal hutoch Namo ilin fananyam Shevi fayin yodo yum sirum mochi Shevi fayin yodo yum sirum mochi
How do you even find a song like that, 100 years old?
I had to do a lot of research because the melody was familiar to me. It's a slow air that is often played in Cape Breton, and so I knew the melody and I knew there were Gaelic words to it. And I found a Scottish man by the name of Callum, anyways, famous guy whose last name I can't remember right now.
Google it. Google it out there, friends.
So I listened to his version of it, and then I was like, well, what is actually, where's this song from? I was asking around different people in the Gaelic community to find out what they knew about it, and of course I was checking that good old internet as well. So I knew the writer's name was Neil McLean, and then it was but I couldn't find much more like about this person. Just a little bit, and I went to the St. FX library there's a Celtic studies library, like a special books collection, and I went in there and I found like a book of poetry that he had written with that song in it, and it was there was no date in that publication, but I kind of figured between the time he was born and when things were happening that it would have been around the time of the Spanish flu that he wrote that song. So yeah, and he was far away from home. Like he lived near Glasgow in Govan, but he was from a faraway island, and so there's that feeling there of being separated from people, which we were all feeling during those lockdowns where we couldn't even visit like family members. So I think it really struck a chord with people.
It struck like all the saddest chords. Too.
Yeah,
it
makes me cry every time I listen to it.
Really? Every time you listen to your own recording of it?
Yeah. I'm kind of over it now. Like I listened to it today and didn't actually cry because I was playing it for a friend. I don't usually just like sit home and listen to my own music. Like I really don't.
But even getting through it for you is emotional to a degree.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, those chords are the way the bass notes move to me is like it's gospel. It's got that gospel feeling to it where the bass notes are moving and you are working your way through the emotions and then the melody hits this gorgeous peak.
And there's a line in it, it's about wanting to be like a young person again. It's about wanting to be a child again. And that's something that, I don't know, do you guys ever feel that way? Like you just wish that life was simpler and yeah.
The key is telling yourself that you're still 12 and it's okay to act like that. I'd say you're pretty young at heart though. Like I've seen you bounce around a music festival with more energy than anybody else there.
I was born in a south wind, so... Yeah, I have a youthful energy. Thanks, man. That's really nice.
Dude, yeah, you're like a human sou'wester, I would say. No, in a good way. Without the hat.
I like those hats, though.
Me too.
They're really nice hats.
Seriously, that's a beautiful song, and like the digging you do for songs like that. It's mostly Scottish Gaelic then. You don't really venture into the Irish Gaelic.
I know one Irish Gaelic song. You want to hear it? Niet na lacan sa vuta, niet na lacan sa vuta, niet na lacan sa vuta, scary me, I'm a cargoon could hi diddly diddly hi diddly.
Oh, so the Irish Gaelic songs are more elvish in a way.
Oh, well, sorry guys. It's like my apologies to actual Irish Gaelic speakers, but niet na lacan sa vuta.
See, you're so considerate. I'm out here. I'm ready to offend all of them. But you're still looking out for them. Respect. No, I don't mean any disrespect towards anybody Irish. I found out actually recently I'm 100% Irish.
It all makes sense now.
That's why I'm willing to make fun of them.
I'm Irish in name. You're allowed. We're both allowed. We are Irish, so it's okay. It's like self-deprecating humor. It's fine.
The whole world is Irish at this point, aren't we? I mean, I didn't know I was. I thought I was like English and Scottish, but then I found out I was 100% Irish. And to be honest, I was a little disappointed. No offense to the Irish, but that was a given. It's like, yes, we're all proud of our Irish roots, but 100%? That's unnecessary. You're 100% Scottish, though, aren't you?
Not really, because I have an Irish ancestor.
Oh, one single Irish ancestor?
Well, I mean, if you go far enough back, they'd all be Irish, but you'd have to go pretty far back. But
that's true.
But you know what? It was a Celtic empire at one time, and the thing is, we can understand each other. I was on tour once in Austria with a group of musicians from Western Ireland, and they were native Gaelic speakers, Irish Gaelic speakers, and we after a certain point in the night, we definitely understood each other.
Like, how many drinks deep was?
Definitely communicate with one another. We knew what the other was saying. We understood it all.
Especially in terms of resistance towards the English. Everybody knows what you're saying when you're talking about that, right? Power to the people, damn the colonies.
Down with capitalism.
Down with capital. There's something I would love to talk to you about, Mary Beth Carty.
Let's do it. Well, no, but that's the thing. It was like, and it's the story of where we are now, is taking over lands and then charging rent or interest and making money off. Like this is a colonial thing that happened in Scotland, Ireland, and Canada as well.
Is that why history is so important to you? Because you want to break down what has truly happened?
I mean, when you look back, you can kind of understand like what is this world we're living in today? You have to kind of look back and see the building blocks that made it. You know.
Do you feel a responsibility as a songwriter to explain that history?
Well, see, as a person explaining things, I'm really bad at it. So if I could sing it, maybe a little bit better, but I still couldn't. There's songs that I've written, like one of the Bette and Wallette albums. We had a second album, Électrique, and there is a song called 2001, and it's about the Summit of the Americas that happened in Quebec City in 2001. Now, if you wanted me to explain that whole situation, I wouldn't be able to, but I could write a song about it. I wrote a song about it, and I'm proud of that. It sort of like paints the picture of what it was like, but also there's like a personal relationship in there, and it's anyway. So I do.
You've layered and woven your distrust of capitalism into your songs.
Yeah. I guess you could say that. I'm gonna put that on a T-shirt too.
This shirt is woven with the distrust of capitalism.
That's brilliant. That's really good.
Yeah, no, you can have that. That's all yours. And TM, Friendly Heckler Podcast 2022. But how many songs do you have that you mentioned capitalism in?
Well, this song I'll sing now might be the only one.
No, it's not.
It's not?
No, there's at least one other one.
Which one? I don't even know.
I think it's Squeegee you mentioned. No? It's on that record, though.
It's okay. I gotta look now. I'm gonna read the liner notes. Which one could it possibly be?
Please, let's take the rest of this podcast for you to read the liner notes to your own album.
Because there is a song on here called OGM, which is French for GMO.
Yeah, fuck
and
GMOs.
So that's another one where I do talk about the evils of agricultural capitalism. Yeah.
It's sort of a rallying call for you, isn't it?
This song? This life?
That message.
Life
yes, that's life. Yeah. I mean, you're taking the power, you're showing the people how much power they have every time you play, because there's a lot of audience involvement. Little do they know they're singing along to songs that are like slam capitalism. And
that's the thing, as musicians, we have the microphone, so while we have it, we may as well try to make a difference in the world, and yeah.
Subvert! So, please play Aliens Are Nice.
All right. And this is a sing-along, too. All right. I'm going to stand up.
I just want to preface this by saying this is I'm not going to say my favorite song of yours because I'm going to leave that open, but I will say my second favorite so that the favorite is never filled because your songs are just going to get better and better anyway. But this song speaks a lot to me because I have a strong belief in aliens, and define that as you will. And I'm not a big fan of the capitalist structure of the world, and I think, things could change if we just met some friends from outer space. So, with all that said, I want to friendly heckle my friend Mary Beth Carty into playing the song, The Aliens Are Nice.
I saw a documentary through web streaming last night. The aliens are nice. The aliens are nice. Saucers in the atmosphere just hovering in flight. The aliens are nice. The aliens are nice. The U.S. Army cannons tried to shoot them out the sky. The aliens are nice. The aliens are nice. Senators and congressmen gave warnings to deny. The aliens are nice. The aliens are nice. They're not like films from Hollywood, no big bucks movie fights. The aliens are nice. The aliens are nice. But change dimensions silently through portholes made of light. The aliens are nice. The aliens are nice. And if they return, may they with socialists unite. The aliens are nice. The aliens are nice. Make capitalist companies respect our human rights. The aliens are nice. The aliens are nice. And with this song, we'll call them through the windows here tonight. The aliens are nice. The aliens are nice. Or perhaps they're sitting next to you, all smiling and polite. The aliens are nice. The aliens are nice.
It's pretty self-explanatory. But do you believe in aliens?
Oh man. You know, I was saying earlier, it's weird enough that I said on a podcast that I believe in past lives, and
no, it's not.
Now,
I do.
For aliens, I don't think about that too much. But the song was inspired by a friend who really believed, like you, he really did believe, that the only way out of all of the environmental destruction and all of this, bad stuff happening on planet Earth was the alien. He really did believe that they were going to come and save us. So that song was inspired by his it's a song about faith in the end, you know. So someone having faith in something. So
yeah, that's very hopeful because after watching all those Hollywood movies like Independence Day, most people are very scared of the concept.
Yeah, I can't watch those. The thing about those kinds of movies is if there's any kind of a violent scene, I will just fall asleep. Because, it's just gratuitous violence and you're not going to miss any plot. So I can't really watch those movies. They just put me to sleep.
So for sci-fi movies, you were like an E.T. kid and that was it?
E.T., man, the bicycles. I love bicycles. Put your cat in a basket on the bicycle and just don't fall off.
Right. So E.T. had everything for you. It had cats and extraterrestrials. It was like, this is the movie, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hoodies. Yeah.
Hoodies. Okay. Sci-fi movies are those you're like, I get enough of that in my brain. I don't need to watch that. Do you watch much TV even?
I do. I will be honest, I have a Netflix subscription, and I'll tell you what I'm watching. Right, you want to hear what I'm watching right now? It's really good. I'm sorry, you guys, but it's a music-related show, It's called Luis Miguel, la série, the series. So this Mexican singer who was as famous as Elvis or Michael Jackson in the 80s called Luis Miguel. And it's the true story of his life. And there's 3 seasons. I'm just finishing season 1. It is absolutely riveting.
3 seasons?
And the English translation is really good. Like, it's filmed in Spanish, but man, I'm telling you, the English version is great.
You didn't have to, like, hide your VPN or whatever to get Mexican Netflix?
No, man, Luis, Luis, Miguel, Miguel.
That's a major pitch. Netflix, sponsor this podcast, please. That's a big pitch.
I just love watching, like musician biographies, reading musician biographies. So, like.
And this is an artist you'd never heard of before this show either, right?
No, although my new best friend is from Mexico, and he was talking about Luis Miguel and playing his music, so I was starting to listen to the music.
Thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so you're serious about learning Spanish.
Well, I mean, I've been falling into the Pearl League, but from the Obsidian League. If you're on Duolingo, you'll understand. But sorry, it's like now it sounds like I'm talking about video games here. Like, can we get sponsored by Duolingo as well?
That would be awesome. Please, I will learn another language and host the show in another language if they sponsor. Please. The first episode of this podcast is not just begging for sponsors, by the way, but it is. Please tell your friends and tell your sponsors to sponsor this show. First episode, we can do whatever we want. Mary Beth is getting up her instrument. Like, that's my cue. I'm done here.
No, it's like
I do want to know if you're learning any songs in Spanish, though. Any more songs? Like, are you learning Mexican traditional songs now?
I've been listening to cumbia, so I'm just like letting the rhythms permeate my ears.
I have always wanted to join like a mariachi band, like traditional mariachi. So if you start it, please, I will learn that giant bass guitar.
Sweet. All right. Okay, it's a plan. We could get some new recruits from the audience here tonight.
I think the Annapolis Valley needs a really good mariachi band. I don't think we have one, do we? No. Please. Okay. So if you're listening, Google the Annapolis Valley, and then Google mariachi bands, and then email us and tell us that we missed the 2 mariachi bands who are famously playing in the Valley. And I'll have them on the show. But for now, we'll have to start that band. You have a deep appreciation for stuff like that. You have a deep appreciation for French music and Gaelic and even Mi'kmaq songs. And I've seen you sing the honor song.
As a band member with my friend Morgan Toney, we would sing in harmony with him the honor song, which was composed by George Paul. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, I thought you played it once up at North Mountain United Tapestry, which is a community that I currently live in, and it's an incredible little venue to see music in. And I remember you played it, and actually it was just after Canada Day that I think you were up there, and it was the first Canada Day really that the entire nation acknowledged the 153 years of genocide that they attempted on our First Nations. And it was shortly after the bodies of children being pulled out of residential schools. And up there, it was the first Canada Day that I think we had, is this true that we had a Mi'kmaq local, an elder, actually come and give a workshop on the culture and the music? And so for that community, it's a small community, but that, as a new member of it, that was really meaningful to me to not only be part of it and then have you come up, but to see a young singer with a Scottish background and an appreciation for all these different types of music to go out there and sing it. And it wasn't appropriation in any way. It was an honor towards the honor songs. So to me, it was moving. That, to me, connected this province and its history and its new artists who are trying to connect all of that. It was beautiful. I really appreciated it.
Thank you. And to set the record straight, I would have sung the friendship song. And my friend who taught it to me, Tara Lewis, she came all the way to the show, which was really great. She's a dear friend and a great inspiration to me. And yeah, just thinking back to Canada Day 2021, and a lot of people didn't celebrate. There were no fireworks, and a lot of people didn't celebrate. But me on July 1st, 2021, I was in Shubenacadie. There was a big outdoor thing, and I was just playing guitar with Morgan Tony, and it was super fun. Everyone was wearing orange T-shirts, and we were doing this spot. The one thing they do at powwows that's super fun is the spot dance competition, and they were getting me to pick the spots. So everyone's dancing, and you pick in your mind, okay, I'm going to pick this spot, and whoever is closest to that spot wins a prize, and it's like a Tim Hortons gift card or some such thing. So I had a good Canada Day 2021 because I was in Shubenacadie on the reserve.
You're on the right side of history.
In the powwow grounds. It was a good time.
Wow.
And I'm glad you guys had a good one too. It sounds like it was a great time.
It was somber, as it should be for a bunch of whiteys. We need to take a back seat for the next 100 years, I think. But yeah, that meant a lot to me to see another singer-songwriter go out there and connect the communities. And you're doing it nonstop. So thank you for bridging all the gaps, even between Anglos and Francophones and Celts, Irish or Scottish. A lot of war there.
Thank you. I just love culture, and I just love learning about people through culture and sharing culture. So once again, thank you for having me on this show.
I really appreciate your time. How about another hand for Mary Beth Carty? Are you gonna play us out?
Yeah.
Please play us out.
So this song has really, there's nothing serious about this song. It was inspired by my friend Tony Tomlick's really beat up truck. So, and there's if you want Canadiana hash browns, there's a yellow long part, so just gonna yell out hash browns when you fill the time. You'll know when.
It's on the offbeat of the 3. Hash browns.
Tony had a pickup, not too young, drove it around working hard, having fun, but Russ grew in, Russ grew on, Russ grew under, left it sitting on the lawn. Tow it Toyota, tow it into town, turn it into tiny tippets, turn it into hash browns. Tow it Toyota, tow it into town, turn it into tiny tippets, turn it into hash browns. Yeah, you got it. One day we said, that's it, this truck's gotta go or we're burning it. Called up Jimmy, called up Cash, strongest man arrived in a flash. Put it in neutral, pushed it into town, harder going up than it was going down. Wheel flew off on Cameron's Hill, decided to take that tow truck bill. So a Toyota, tow it into town, turn it into tiny tippets, turn it into hash browns. So a Toyota, tow it into town, turn it into tiny tippets, turn it into hash browns. So a Toyota, tow it into town, turn it into tiny tippets, turn it into hash browns. So a Toyota, tow it into town, turn it into tiny tippets, turn it into hash browns. Yeah! Drink to the wheels, drink to the clutch, drink to the bumper and steering wheel touch. Drink to the suspension, which was long gone. Wrote this little tow truck song. Tow a Toyota, tow it into town, turn it into tiny tippets, turn it into hash browns. Toyota, tow it into town, turn it into tiny tippets, turn it into yeah. Crochet farmings, koi pani pomoyam, crochet shipping me is peckers mission me, crochet shippers, koi pani pomoyam, crochet shipping me is peckers mission me, crochet shipping me, crochet shipping me, crochet shipping me is peckers mission me, crochet shipping me, crochet shipping me, crochet shipping me. I just tagged a Gaelic song in the end, which I've never done before. It was like, I could play the tune now, but it's a little fast.
Mary Beth Carty, ladies and gentlemen, great job, great job. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming out. Please rate, subscribe, follow everything that we have online. We're doing this again September 13th. Ryan Stanley is our guest right here at Union Street and right here on the podcast airwaves. Thanks so much for listening. See you soon.
Zakary Miller.
Wasn't that friggin' delightful? Mary Beth Carty has some dates coming up. You can see her September 10th at the Sydney Farmers Market, October 15th at the Margery Harvest Festival. That's one of the greatest places on earth. And November 5th at Nova Scotia Music Week. So go out and see Mary Beth's full show. It's amazing, obviously. Thanks again for listening. This has been the first episode of the Friendly Heckler podcast. Please tell your friends about us. Thanks.